Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with a look at this very interesting $3 Tyrannosaurus Rex from Five Below. I recently had reviewed an Allosaurus from this range, which was interesting, and I had a few people ask me about reviewing this T-Rex. The other one doesn't look so great, so I'm really not interested in that one at all. I think that one's just so ugly. Even if there was a request for that for review, I don't know that I would do that because it's just so bad. I wouldn't want to, even, it's like $3, but I still wouldn't want to waste $3 on it. But this one, again, doesn't look terrible, so, I mean, it doesn't look great either, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, so I figured why not grab it for you guys. And if you happen to have seen my recent Jurassic World toy hunt video, I did go and snag this from Five Below in that video. You can see again that the box art is pretty much the same type of thing that we've seen on the others, and then here on the back you can see the Allosaurus that I had reviewed, the T-Rex we are currently going to review, and then the other T-Rex I was just speaking of that is super hideous. So let's go ahead, pop this out of the box and check it out. So here is our Tyrannosaurus. I guess you could say in all its glory, though it doesn't look very glorious, but it's definitely, in my opinion, a bootleg. I mean, it certainly looks like the Papo running T-Rex, just kind of altered and, you know, cheapened a lot, really. And also at the same time is very similar to the Allosaurus that, you know, I had reviewed from this line. The jaw doesn't work so great. Again, we have screw holes on it on the more dominant side, just like we saw on the other version. But again, it's definitely not an award-winning T-Rex, or even really a good T-Rex, but we're going to jump to a closer look and we'll check it out from there. So starting up here at the head sculpt, one of the things that instantly threw me off about this figure is the eye paint. And you can see, if you can consider that eye paint, it absolutely has missed the mark by a mile. It's almost like they didn't even try. The other side, I mean, I guess looks better because at least it looks like there's an eye painted on, but still looks absolutely awful overall. Again, really not good. And look at where they decided to put the information for the T-Rex, just like blatantly right on the side of the lower jaw. Man, this company just does not care at all. But you can see that we've got some okay looking skin texture here in the face. Not really that great. There's a very awkward spot right there that I don't know what happened, but it just looks super muted and terrible. You can see that we've got a dark green for the body color. We also have a black and then some orange that kind of stripes and patterns through. We have an articulated jaw, of course, for the T-Rex. It can kind of close, but seems like it almost always wants to hang open. I don't know if there's an action feature. I guess we'll have to see. But you can see the teeth are sculpted out okay. They don't look great, but they don't look terrible. They're painted with a white coloration. A little sloppy when it comes to the paintwork. You can see a tongue sculpted out in there, but it's about as generic looking of a tongue as it gets. Nothing going on detail-wise. You can see a light up there on the inside of the mouth, though. But definitely not a great Rex as far as that goes. As you move along, you continue to see, again, a very cheap look and feel for the figure. You can also see, again, that we've got more of that orange leading down. But as we lead down into the neck, the orange is pretty much gone. We still have the black up here that follows along, though. And it is very glossy. Definitely a very glossy black. As we move along, the skin texture continues to look super generic. So if it is, in fact, a bootleg, which I'm pretty confident it is, of the Papo running Rex, it's not really that great when it comes to the detail. They didn't do a very good job of stealing that from Papo. We do have articulation in the neck as well, a swivel, but it feels so loose and so cheap, like it's going to pop off. Like, look, you can kind of see a wobbling right there. As we continue to move down through the course of the body, you still see more detailing. Again, it doesn't look like the ugliest stuff in the world, but it's still by no means anything that is going to, you know, get praise when it comes to the skin texture. We still have the black moving along. You can kind of see some of the green creeping through as well. You have an arm sculpted here. You can see some muscle definition in the arm, and there is articulation, which it can actually move up pretty high and then move back pretty far, not too great. And same deal for the opposing arm over there. At least you can kind of put the arms in what I would say is a little bit more of a nice position, a more natural position, even though the wrists are pronated. But as you move along, you can see an opening in the midsection here for the sound to escape from. Again, I don't know why they would have put that on this side. You would think they'd put the button for the sound effect on this side, but for some reason, we've got the opening on this side. As we move back, you can see the muscle definition in the thigh. You can also see the knee, the calf, and the foot as you move down. The skin texture moving through that area looks okay, but again is definitely muted in some of the areas of the figure and definitely very, very generic looking overall. You also have an ugly seam, which you see a lot on this figure, but you can see an ugly seam that kind of follows right through the center of the thigh, down through the calf, down into the foot. There's also a big ugly seam following along the spinal column of the T-Rex. But you do have articulation in the legs, again forward and back. Not really great, but it works okay. The nails kind of have some decent detail to them, but they're not painted or anything like that. You can see more seams and stuff as you move through the foot. You can see that there are dew claws, though, at least, just again, not painted. As you move up into the tail, you can see a screw hole, which again, on the dominant side, doesn't make sense to me. The black disappears at this point, so they've taken a page out of Mattel's playbook with the lack of nail paint and, of course, the paint ending as we lead out into the tail. And as you lead out into the tail, you can see again that we've got a bit of a curve going on. The tail's really quite short, just like it was for the Allosaurus. The skin texture continues to look pretty generic, but I would say probably the best it's looked through the entire body as you lead out into the tail, which is actually quite humorous. If you look along the underside, again, it looks pretty much as it has through the course of the body. Nothing that's really going to blow anybody's mind down here. More seams and stuff as you lead down. When you look at the opposing side, you can see the head is turned away from us, so there's a little difference when it comes to the overall visual from one side to the other. You can also, of course, see that stamp again on the lower jaw. As you move back through the body, you can see that the button now is here on the stomach region, which kind of makes it look like an injury in that area, sort of like the rib cage is sort of showing. Just there's no real paintwork to differentiate it from the rest of the body. The leg and everything looks pretty much the same over here. Kind of an awkward curve to the nails. I don't know, it just looks a little strange in the toenails of the T-Rex, but as you move out again, the tail and everything looks pretty much the same, just curving toward us now on this side. But again, it's definitely not a great figure, and the eye paint is so bad on this one, and it was like this on every single one of these. When I had first seen this there were probably about 4 or 5 of these guys maybe, and every single one had awful eye paint like this. But it's certainly not something that I was expecting to be spectacular, so I guess you get what you pay for. Shockingly, the figure does balance pretty nicely, I guess, so that's a plus, sort of. Or at least there's one plus for the figure. But as we move it around, we take a look at the other side. You can see, again, we've got the button, so let's go ahead and hear it. I'm sure it's going to be Godzilla, just like the other one. It absolutely is. You can also see a light there in the mouth. I don't know if you noticed it. If not, I'll do it one more time. So it just sort of blinks and stuff a whole bunch of times. On Godzilla figures, you know, it kind of is like something that you can get away with because it almost makes it look like it has atomic breath. But I don't know why a Tyrannosaur's mouth would be lighting up. That just doesn't make much sense to me. But as far as a size goes for our T-Rex, lengthwise, you are looking at about 9.5 inches or 24 centimeters, and height-wise, in the position it's currently in, just shy of 4.5 inches, or a little under 11.5 centimeters, but of course that could change if you put the Tyrannosaur standing up taller, since it does feature leg articulation. But for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our T-Rex from Five Below. Now, I don't think we really need to do many size comparisons with this one, because it's definitely not going to be a figure that's very high on anybody's want list, and I feel like if you are going to buy it, it's probably just like a boredom buy, or maybe something to just kind of give you more figures in your collection. I really don't see anybody thinking, man, that is a gorgeous T-Rex, I need to run out and grab that. So comparison-wise, you can see it's like a sort of like a small approaching medium size range. Maybe like a medium, I would say. Probably like a medium size range figure. And obviously significantly smaller than Mr. Papo T-Rex. So this Tyrannosaurus Rex from Five Below, a $3 T-Rex, or like $3.25 or some random number like that, It's pretty terrible. Definitely what I was expecting it to be again. The Allosaurus was like okay at best. And that's actually giving it some pretty high praise for what it is, really, would be giving it, an okay at best. This one is definitely less than okay. It's pretty ugly as a whole. The sculpt is definitely a bootleg from the Papo Running Rex. At least the head is. I don't know if the rest of the body is as well, although it certainly looks similar enough to be considered, an entire bootleg, just kind of altered and rearranged and stuff. They definitely did some work to make it look a little bit different, but I would say it's a safe bet that this is a bootleg of the Papo Running T-Rex. And normally I would think, wow, a Papo Running Rex with articulation stuff is pretty cool. We had one recently in a Kid Galaxy set that was actually kind of interesting. This one, however, though, is like way lower quality than even the Kid Galaxy version. The detail is super muted and ugly through the course of the entire figure. It's been retextured a bit, and definitely retextured in a bad way because the detail just looks super cheap. The figure as a whole is incredibly cheap. There's horrible seam lines through the course of the entire figure. There's just lackluster paint application, like the eyes are awful. They didn't even try up there. The teeth are pretty sloppy as well. There's no paintwork for the inside of the mouth, no paintwork for the nails. So overall, the paint's pretty bad. The articulation works okay in some places, not so great in others, like the jaw articulation just doesn't work very well. It's very loose. It doesn't want to stay closed when you close it, and it doesn't close all the way when you try. The articulation in the arms and legs is pretty decent, though. You also have, again, ugliness on the more dominant side with the opening for the sound as well as screw holes. And you have Godzilla noises for the figure on top of everything. So I would say don't go buy this one, but I guess it's really up to your preference. Maybe you're seeing something that I don't. I would say it's an absolutely awful figure, but if you are interested, you can head to your local Five Below. Again, they're like $3.25 if you want to grab one. Maybe practice repainting it or something. One way or another, if you are interested, head to Five Below, and of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.